Are you feeling a little bit lost or like you'd want to make a bit more of an impact on other people? Well, today I want to talk about leadership and how mentally and emotionally that's really been able to help me in my life and help others as well. Welcome back to the Men's Mental Health podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. I wanted to talk about this today because we had a conversation about this on my sales coaching call yesterday. So I have a weekly training where my sales coach goes through a case of scenarios. We talk about like challenges we face in the sales process, and you may or may not know me, but yeah, I'm in remote sales, and I've done sales like for a while on and off. Just recently come back into it, and yeah, it can be a very tough area. And for me, sales is about it's a sport of serving people to the highest good, and it's also a sport of emotional mastery. Now, are there very good salespeople out there who try and rip people off and take their money? Of course there are, but there's also some very heart-driven people who have transformed my life by being able to help me get out of my own way to start something, and when I was nervous about the money or something like that. And it can be very challenging but very rewarding, especially when you help someone through a decision making process, not in a way that like you're trying to force something, but helping them get out of that place. Anyway, we were on this call yesterday and we were talking about like leadership on calls. And there've been times when I haven't been the leader I wanted to be on a call. Now, there's many other areas in my life where I feel like I have led. And the thing is, with leadership, it's very talked about these days. I'm just going to talk about it today. And people talk like leadership experts on all this kind of stuff, right? But for me, like leadership is is really vital on like a sales process, but also in your life and for other people as well. Now, what leadership is not, and I've definitely fallen into this, and I have to catch myself out now and then. Leadership is not people pleasing. It is not trying to say what you want them to hear. It is not just being like, oh, that's all right. Oh, you're a good person. It is talking with truth, and it is also not on the other end of the scale putting people down, like abusing people, like verbally. It is not that. That is definitely not leadership. It's not about control over people. That is not leadership either for me. Leadership is living from the heart and being kind, but really calling out the truth when you need to. And that includes yourself and other people. In fact, what I've learned, it starts with myself. Like today, I woke up and I wasn't feeling in the best mood, right? I was having some thoughts coming up about something I've been challenged with for months. And not every day, I'm not challenged with it every day, but it kind of reared its head. And if I'm being honest, I could have had better sleep. So I now need to lead myself into having better sleep plans, which is tricky when you work late into the night doing sales calls. But I know there's definitely a way. And I had to lead myself into going through my routines, I don't do like 3 hour morning routines or anything, I'll do some writing down some statements, I'll do some like breath work, I'll do some meditation. I do a really good one at the moment, actually. I have to lead myself through that so that I can show up for other people in my day. It's really important to lead yourself first, and I just want to talk about this. Leading other people is challenging them for their own good. Now, a lot of times people are in their own way, that they talk things that don't make sense, and you have to challenge them, sometimes personally, sometimes professionally. Now, of course, there's a right place and right time. Of course, like you don't just go up to some random person in the street. But say you've got that friend who has had a breakup or something like that, and or something hurtful's happened to them, and then you love your friend and you as a friend, and you want to really support them, and they're like drinking most days, because that's a very common one in the UK, in the US. We drink to feel an emotion, to run away from a feeling, right? And I've certainly been there many, many years. So you go to this friend and you're like, oh, it's all right. I understand why you're drinking. That's it. Yeah, drink yourself to death. That kind of thing, right? No, like if you really cared about them, you'd be like, look, I know you're really hurting. I'm here for you. And I know where you can really get some good emotional support, but this drinking has got to stop. You would challenge them. That is leading. But the thing is, with leadership, you cannot expect them to do another thing, only the way you act. For me, when I've shown up, like as a leader, it sometimes doesn't result in like the other person necessarily liking it. Sometimes it does. I've been on calls where everyone was saying something to please someone, and I said the opposite. I said, I don't agree. And actually, I got respected for it. I've also said it in other times, and I've been fired. Just calling that one out. But it was good because I didn't want to be in that culture anyway. I've also called it out, like in dating and relationship situations, and times I haven't, and I regret the times I hadn't. Like when I've been led from my truth, and it's either revoked a good response or not a good response. At least I led with my truth. Like recently, I had to call someone out a few months back, and I was like, "Look, has something come up here?" And she wasn't happy about it. I could tell, but it was just a pattern I was analysing. I could observe. I had to call that out to ask the truth, like, and in the end it ended. But like, it was ending anyway. But it was like, yeah, I've done that in the past, and actually in a dating situation, and it was really appreciated and it helped us. But actually, things didn't go so well in other situations, right? So that also applies to like work. Sometimes when you're truthful, people really appreciate it. Actually, people can get a bit pissed off when you're like sugarcoating stuff and just trying to please them. They can tell energetically. So be yourself, be truthful, and come from the heart, because being truthful is coming from the heart, but sometimes it doesn't get the best response from other people. What I would say though is someone who truly lives in their heart and you're being truthful, they're probably going to respond a lot better than someone who's wounded, right? And there's a lot of wounded people who don't live in the heart on this planet, right? Because that's the way we're conditioned. It's no judgment at all. And I certainly get caught in that place from time to time. So make sure you're leading yourself. You're calling yourself out. You're like, and it doesn't mean you've got to be running a marathon every day. I'm not saying that, right? Give yourself that self-love and things. But when you say you're going to do something and you're not doing it, like I would say something like this: Johnny, you said you were going to do that. Why haven't you done that? That's really important for us to move us forward in our business, in our career. And it just seems like you're making excuses. I say that to myself, right? And the more I call myself out, the better relationship I have with myself, and therefore the more I'm able to impact other people. So I just want to share that perspective today, how mentally and emotionally leadership to yourself and then to other people can really, really be. So thank you for listening, and remember to lead with your heart, not with fear.